Welcome, everyone. It is a beautiful Wednesday evening, August the 24th, 2022. And you're joining us in another great episode of Talking from the Cheap Seats. I am Rumble.
I am the Gazoo.
And once again, we're going to talk sports better than
you.
So, to me, it's been been rather a boring week in Boston sports, so to speak, especially with the people read what I wrote for the headline. And the last thing we'll get to is let's just put it right out there. The boys of summer, the Boston Red Sox. Finally, I'm getting on board with a lot of the rest of yous. It's been a lackluster summer, and I think that if they can't do anything this week, you just they might as well just let the farm come up and start to play after this week.
I think the week too, bro.
This week it's all done.
It's done. It's already done.
Yeah.
They can't beat. They couldn't beat the Baltimore fucking Orioles in a 3-game series.
Yeah, but the Baltimore Orioles aren't our usual Baltimore Orioles over the past 10 years. Doesn't matter.
But the point is, they're the worst of the other AFC East teams, and they can't beat them.
The other worst of? Well,
I mean, American
sooner or later, can I tell you?
Yeah,
and people will tell you. Sooner or later, all your number one picks in the best minor league system in all of baseball is finally going to catch on. And this year was the year that the best minor league team, the best organization in baseball, not back in the day, they were considered a top-notch organization. Over the past 15 to 20 years, Baltimore has fallen from the ranks, but they have had, over the past 5 years, the best minor league prospect in MLB, top 5. So it's bound sooner or later for these draft choices and picks to finally pan off. And I think the Orioles. This is just real baseball talk. It's been told that the Orioles will go out this offseason with the tremendous moves that their young players have made. The Baltimore Orioles will go out and are planning on being big spenders.
Well, you know what? Here's the issue, and it pertains to the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox can spend now. They just didn't. They're in their business model. Their business motto is garbage. And you know what?
I know that. Yeah.
They tried to hold on. This is what I've been saying to you for weeks. They've been trying to cram it down our throat that they were changing their model. Yet they're the fucking most expensive ticket in baseball, more than the New York Yankees, who is the highest grossing team in Major League Baseball because they own the Yes Network. So the money is just a plethora. And then you got the Dodgers and you have the Red Sox. But the Yankees and the Dodgers are spending like fucking crazy. The Red Sox told us we have a new business model. We're going to change our model. And they didn't go out and they didn't, again, you reap what you sow. In the Red Sox reaping what they sow. With a fucking owner of a team who does not, and I'll say it to you again, the owner of this team, the majority owner, John Henry, does no longer care if the Boston Red Sox win the World Series. As long as he's selling tickets and making profit from his shirts and his things at Fenway Park.
Sounds like a guy back in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, like a guy like I think his name is Jeremy Jacobs, who only cared about mediocrity and having an extra round in the playoffs to make sure. But then again, I'm going to put this out there. Are the Red Sox one of the lowest franchises, meaning payroll-wise, in Major League Baseball?
No.
Okay, so now I'm going to.
So
you answered my question. If I'm John Henry, and I guarantee they're not the middle, I think the Red Sox are top 5 in salaries paid out.
No. The Red Sox are in the middle. Red Sox are in the middle.
You're telling me the Red Sox are between 10 and 15 in Major League Baseball for salaries?
They're in the middle. They're not on the low end, and they're not exuberant.
So either way, there's 30 teams in Major League Baseball, if I believe. So if you're in the middle, you're between 10 and 15.
You're about I would say between 10 and 15 in the middle.
Okay.
10 is more on the high, but they're not the top. They do not have a top 10 payroll.
I just myself, if you want to Google this, I believe at the beginning of the year, before the Padres took on Juan Soto and gave out that other contract that they gave out at the beginning of the year to somebody, I believe the Red Sox were top 5 in Major League Baseball in payroll. So, with that being said, if the Red Sox are top 5 and I'm John Henry, and I'm going to put it to you like this, Major League Baseball, late like the 70s and 80s, where your American League East and West are the only 2 teams that make the playoffs, just like over in the National League.
Yep.
So if you're a top 10 team in Major League Baseball, I think every owner, with the way that playoffs are formulated now, that if you're a top 10 in salaries paid out, I believe every owner should expect that their team should be able to make the playoffs without having to continuously, year in and year out, add more money.
Okay.
That just means that and this goes to it. I never said that that Bloom legitimately knows what he's doing. Does he know how to save money for a franchise that would be hurting? Yes. But as far as the Boston Red Sox are concerned, I look at teams that won it in the World Series, and the World Series winners had really good role players and had asserted superstars. And the more I look at this team, and the more people want to bitch, moan, and complain about spending money, Xander Bogaerts is a middle and above average Major League shortstop.
Used to be a good hitter, but he is in a slump.
Okay. Listen, you can check this too. Bogaerts is notorious for starting off hot, and then come season ending, he ends up around 265 to 275, when he'll lead the league for half the year in batting average.
Yep.
He'll be batting 340 and finish the season at 268.
So, let me just point this out to you. So the estimated payroll for the 2022 season for the Boston Red Sox is $232 million. That puts them in the lowest bracket to have to pay the luxury tax. Now I am looking up what they are salary.
I don't care about the luxury tax. I want to know who pays out the most money. What are the top teams that pay out? That's all. Guarantee the Dodgers and the Yankees are number 1 and number 2.
Oh, you already said it.
Yeah.
The Dodgers and Yankees are 1-2.
Yep. And the Red Sox definitely fall in line at 10. And I definitely feel that John Henry is just sick and tired of spending.
All right.
In my honest opinion,
I'm sorry. The Red Sox payroll is not 232. It's 207. Red Sox the highest payroll in Major League Baseball is the Los Angeles Dodgers, then the New York Mets, then the Yankees, then the Phillies, then the Padres.
Yes.
Then the Boston Red Sox.
It's a top 5 team. So I'm John Henry, and I'm saying
they are in the top 10.
Okay. So that's top 5 as far as I'm concerned. Top 6. Okay. So what? 5, 6.
So wait, now that makes it worse though, because if you're gonna look at it, so I was wrong. Obviously, they're not middle.
I'm sick of if I'm John Henry, and if I'm John Henry and you're Chaim Bloom, I hired you to exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're fired.
I
You got
and
200. And I think
yeah,
that
why can't you win with what I got? Why do I got to keep on spending? What if Henry doesn't
hold on, let me
mind?
finish. With
Yep.
Trevor Story signing, that's what they said. So when they signed Trevor Story, that put him at 232 million, still number 6 based off the numbers, but at a 232 million dollar payroll, you're the last place team in the American League East.
Yep.
That's terrible. Terrible.
And
you have the Baltimore Orioles, you have the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and you have the Toronto Blue Jays better than you. That's terrible.
And that's why, as an owner, I know you're gonna say, but you should add. Like, no, I'm not adding. I'm gonna tell you the reason why I'm not gonna add. I'm gonna wait till. Meaning, why would I add more as the season went on when I already had in mind as an owner that I want to clear my books? And maybe because I don't want to show my hand as an owner, meaning clear my books, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to get rid of Bogarts and I want to get rid of Devers. You know what I mean?
What we need to get rid of is Chris fucking Sale.
Chris, listen. Guys like J.D. Drew, guys like Evaldi, and Vasquez is already gone. But there's 3 good money guys still on the team that their money comes up this year. I really believe that John Henry is letting this year go by because he had plans. He wanted.
Why would you?
Why should
it go by?
Maybe because he had. Listen,
analogy though.
No, it isn't because I'm telling you. I'm saying to you right now, my team has the 6th highest payroll in all of MLB. My team should be, and I know, but on paper, as an owner, I should be able to put that out there.
If you own the Boston Red Sox right now, would you fire Chaim Bloom?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, as long as we agree on that.
I would fire Chaim Bloom, and the thing is, I gave him a couple years. I like what he does with the money moving around. Okay? He brings some guys in, but at the same time, to subjugate spending money on a guy like Trevor Story when a guy like Arroyo could have played
what's
there.
His name? From the Korea. College Korea.
Yep.
There's
so many other dividends that the Red Sox, to be honest with you, they didn't really need to add Story. Because if you didn't add Story, guess what? You could have been in the Juan Soto sweepstakes come the trade deadline.
Absolutely. Just like next year. Could they be in the
I hear that he is a very locker room disruption, Mr. Juan Soto.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the thing is, next year, you can kiss your ass out of the Shohei Ohtani fucking series.
Why is that?
Why would you come here?
Why not?
Because I'm going to go back to what I said to you last week. At the end of the day, Chaim Bloom takes his orders from John Henry. John Henry is who wanted those players and deals. He signed off on it. John Henry is as much to blame as Chaim Bloom, but as the owner, he's going to let Chaim Bloom be the scapegoat and John Henry say, hey, he made the decisions, it wasn't me. I hired him. He did a poor job. When it was John Henry who wanted those players and believe, Chaim Bloom, I'm telling you, John Henry didn't, he has the 6th highest payroll, but compared to the fucking Dodgers, it's a payroll that, the Dodgers blow it out of the water, and then the Yankees and the Mets.
Yeah, but the Dodgers have people that perform. That's the difference between the Red Sox and Dodgers.
Too. His name's Mookie fucking Betts.
Mookie Betts don't make, buddy. I'm sorry to say that Mookie Betts is one player.
It's the point, Jay.
Yeah, I get it.
Had Mookie Betts.
Yep, you're right.
He could have been smack dab in that lineup.
Listen, I love Mookie Betts. I think Mookie Betts is one of. Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you.
Right there.
But But you to tell, like, for you to say that if Mookie Betts was on that, just Mookie Betts on this team right now
Makes a
would
difference.
make a difference.
Absolutely, I will tell you, he
I
makes
don't
a
think
difference.
it does.
Absolutely, he does.
Not this year.
He does more on this fucking team. He does more on a fucking team than what we have now, right? You have Mookie fucking Betts. Who's playing center field for the Boston Red Sox, Jay?
He wasn't. He was playing right field.
Okay, who's playing right fucking field for the Boston Red Sox, Jay?
Verdugo.
Okay,
Yeah,
would you rather have Alex Verdugo or Mookie fucking Betts?
I believe. Listen, if you were to tell me, no,
that's the question.
If you were to tell me, listen, of course, Mookie Betts. But I'm saying on this team right now, with the schlep rocks they have, Mookie Betts would not do a much more of a difference than what they have.
But we wouldn't have the schlep rocks because it would be a different fucking team if we had kept Mookie fucking Betts. That's my whole point. We wouldn't even be having this conversation.
I just listen.
And let's be honest. I think we both can agree. The Red Sox, Chaim Bloom does not know how to put together a fucking pitching staff. He has no fucking clue how to put together a pitching staff. So.
Yeah,
he doesn't. He doesn't. Look at our pitching staff.
It's because he comes from Tampa. Listen. Yeah, he comes from Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay had a different philosophy on this.
They never had a pitching staff.
Exactly.
So anyway, hey.
I'd like, listen, we weren't going to lead off with the Sox, but I had to lead off with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fine, because honestly, the Sox are I hate to say it, it's a terrible story. You got a team with that kind of a payroll, with an owner who now, I go back to the ownership because he doesn't own just the Boston Red Sox. He owns the Boston Red Sox. He owns the Pittsburgh fucking Penguins. He owns a fucking NASCAR team. He owns a fucking Premier League soccer team. And it's like, as a fan, you got to sit there and say to yourself, okay, so you did spend the sixth highest payroll, but this is the fucking guy you give me to run your team? And I don't mean Alex Cora. Chaim Bloom? Like, this is the guy that you have run your team? And before that, you had Dave Dombrowski. Okay, Dave Dombrowski was known. We knew what we were getting. He'll wipe out your system, but maybe build you a winner. Yes.
He did build us a winner.
But we also got Bobby Valentine out of Dave Dombrowski too.
Yeah, but can I tell you, at one time, Bobby Valentine was considered a great manager. At one time,
Bobby Valentine is the Bobby Knight of baseball.
So you're telling me Bobby Knight was a horrible basketball coach?
No. You just said at one time was a great coach. Not anymore, though. And he did more damage than he did good here.
Yes. The Bobby Valentine experience.
Yeah. But anyways, so I think that's it. I think we're all in agreement with the Red Sox. It's done. Stick a fork in them. It's done. Put the guys in the fucking sit down your stars, because at this point, don't risk them getting hurt and call it a season. LeBron James, he's part of the minor ownership of the Boston Red Sox.
Yes, he's part of the Fenway Roush investment company. Group. Yes. That's right, the Fenway Roush Investment Group.
So let's transition to a story that came out very recently, as of yesterday or today, involving the Boston Red Sox. So Boston Celtics. Sorry, it looks like Kevin Durant is staying in Brooklyn. It came out that he and the Brooklyn Nets have agreed to work together this year, thus supposedly ending trade talks with any of the teams, specifically the Boston Celtics, and that would mean it's Jaylen Brown. Personally, I think that is just a media ploy to try to save face on both sides. I have no doubt in my mind Kevin Durant will ultimately be traded at some point to a team, whether it's the Red Celtics or not. If the Celtics are in first place, he will not get traded to the Boston Celtics.
Never in a million years.
He will probably most likely be a 76er or maybe a Phoenix Sun, knowing Danny Ainge. But
Danny Ainge is not in Phoenix; he's in Utah.
I mean Utah. I'm sorry, that's what I meant, Utah. But regardless, so the Boston Celtics at this point will continue with the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum tandem. I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, they did get us to a NBA championship finals. My problem is here's my biggest question is, even with the additions, is this team going to be able to get over that hump? Because it's very likely they face either the Los Angeles Lakers next year or the Golden State Warriors.
All right. I am gonna laugh. I'm not gonna take that Lakers
I'm
thing.
going to tell you why in the Lakers.
Why?
Because, well, look at the team they're retooling.
Retooling with who?
You're gonna Kyrie Irving.
What?
Kyrie is going to be a Laker.
When?
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you.
When?
This year he'll be a Laker. It's gonna happen.
And how does he get to LA?
I don't know, but it's gonna happen. I'm telling you,
Buddy,
it's gonna happen.
you know how you say to me, I want some of what you're smoking. I know you ain't smoking, but you're probably breathing in the secondhand smoke from your wife.
No, brother. I've been hitting a
You
little
know,
bit.
all right.
I
Well,
got the vape pen. I got
yeah.
the Bubba Kush.
Okay.
Dallas ain't coming out of the West. No.
Can I tell you? That's a team that I would love to see Kevin Durant on. I'd love to see him with Luka. If Luka Doncic can get a second fiddle, a legit second fiddle to play with them, I think the Dallas Mavericks, I think the Dallas Mavericks would be something. My whole thing, Capelli, hear me out. Last year, I said to people, when I seen it, what the Lakers did, blah, 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 I'm like, the Lakers are going to be 500 at the All-Star break. They're going to be 6, maybe even the 8th seed. And I go, and what they're going to do is they're going to keep all the old guys fresh, not play much. They're going to get more time in practice playing together as a unit. And I had said that the last 30 games, I pulled it over. I did something to my oblique, so I can't laugh really hard. But I had said to people, the Lakers are going to go 25-5 in their last 30. People laughed at me. They said, no, they're too old. They're going to get beat up. I was like, no, they're going to preserve them the right way. If there's 4 games in a week, LeBron will play 3. AD will play 2. You know what I mean? Like, and they would make sure that all these veteran guys would just stay healthy and get right to that end stretch, and the Lakers would go on to win in 19th NBA championship or 18th championship, whatever it is, because I believe they're tied with the Celtics, so they'd go to 19. So, I mean, I don't. Yeah, the one question mark I have about the Lakers is health-wise of Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis is healthy, that's what dictates, honestly, how far the LA Lakers go.
Well,
not LeBron, but if you can if Anthony Davis plays healthy, and they say Westbrook gets his legs back this year, then I would agree to that. But if you're telling if it's the same Lakers, if it's the same Lakers team that repeats itself this year, I feel bad for LeBron, and I would question why other than $98 million that he signed an extension with them.
So we'll see. Yeah, I read that too, that the offense will run through Davis. But I don't believe it. Any team LeBron is on, offense runs through LeBron. Yeah, that's just how type of player he is. I think at the end of the day, very likely we could see a repeat of Boston Golden State. But I'm not 100% sold that the Boston Celtics are getting back there, because Miami could retool. They could make move. Miami was a good team. Miami was the best team in the East going into the playoffs.
Yes, they were.
Milwaukee Bucks with a healthy Middleton may have beaten the Boston Celtics. So I guess it really depends on what this team looks like. I think if we had a Kevin Durant, there was no question we were winning. I think without Kevin Durant, there's the question of, can this team, as it is now, with the Time Lord and with Brogdon and with the two Williams boys and Tatum and Smart and and Brown, can that group get them back to the NBA Finals and win? I'm not worried about the coaching, but I am worried about, do they mature? Does Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, eat the humble pie and say, okay, I ain't eating that shit again because I know what it tastes like and I didn't get that fucking ring. I want that ring. I want to be known as a champion. I think Jaylen Brown actually has that more in him than Jason Tatum, because he proved that in the finals. Again, I would have traded Brown to get Durant, because, again, it would have been 4 years of Durant versus potentially 2 years of Brown, but we're not there anymore. We're going to have Jaylen Brown, so we focus on Jaylen Brown, and let's just see what happens.
Yeah, news came out also this week that Jason Tatum revealed that he was playing for after the third game of the Milwaukee Bucks series. He had been playing with a fractured bone in his wrist.
Jay, can I tell you something, though?
Yep.
I have a feeling that a lot of that's a crock of shit. Because, and I'll say this much, Jaylen Brown, that to me is an excuse. I don't buy it 100%, because if you play with you're not playing with a fractured hand. No one ever saw him with a splint on preseason. We would have seen
his wrist. His wrist was wrapped during the NBA Finals.
Wrapped, but where was the splint? He said he did it against the Milwaukee Bucks, right?
He believes the injury occurred in the Milwaukee season with the fracture in his wrist.
You know what, Jay?
One of his small wrist bones.
After you lose, and you look.
Oh yeah.
One thing if he was like Patrice Bergeron, right? When in 2013. After they lost in the Stanley Cup Finals, you found out Bergeron had a punctured lung, a broken thing, and played through it the entire thing without a fucking word, and he busted his ass. It was no excuses. Everyone's like, man, like Bergeron played his ass off. He didn't look bad. Tatum looked bad in the finals. Yeah. Okay, to me, it's an excuse. Simple as that. It's an excuse. So, but anyways,
everybody, listen.
We moved on.
I will say this: I did notice that he was favoring. I believe it was the shooting hand wrist that he fell on it hard. The third game of the Milwaukee Bucks series. Other than that, I mean, I don't think he is like. It wasn't. He came out and said like, "Yeah, we lost that because I had a small wrist fracture." It had just come out in conversation that they asked him how his off season went, and it came through in the off season. He goes, "Yeah, I had a minor wrist procedure done." They asked him why he had the minor wrist procedure done. He said, exactly words were, at some point during the Bucks series, I fractured I had a small fracture in my wrist.
Okay.
Which all it needed was to be wrapped. It wasn't, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So he got what was ever wrong with his wrist. He had a small That's all. He
No,
didn't say that this is the reason why I lost. A reporter asked him how his off season went.
Well, all right. So I want to talk about something that right now is in the off season, and it's some positive stuff about the Boston Bruins. So first things first, Montgomery has come out with projected lines, which I'm very happy about. Projected lines when healthy: Marchand, Bergeron, DeBrusque, Hall, Krejci, Pasternak. Your top six, you have two lines, potentially that each line could be a number one line. You also have potentially a potent power play. They've signed a kid, Pavel Zacha, to a 1-year deal. He signed his restricted free agent tender for 1 year. I'm also hearing, and going back to it, and we talked about this weeks ago, and I'm more open to it now. I absolutely would sign him. There is talk of re-signing Zdeno Chara for 1 year to come in to be a third-line defenseman, seventh defenseman. I don't see that being a bad idea, as well as potentially trading for a former Boston Bruin enforcer who could probably come in and play on the third or fourth line, have half his salary paid, in Milan Lucic, which I think the Bruins do need somebody to go out there to protect their star players.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of talk around the players are very excited to be playing for this new guy, Montgomery. They like his attitude. He is a mixture of a player's coach and a team coach. Whereas Cassidy was more of a, like, you do it my way. Cassidy's a great coach, but had a certain way of doing it. This guy is a lot of good things coming out of Boston Bruins. So there's not much to talk about other than that, but I will say there is some excitement coming out of Boston, especially out of the Bruins camp.
Good.
The big thing will be to see if they can sign a Zdeno Chara to be a defenseman. We're getting that kid Zorbo back. This kid, Zorbo, he looked good, big kid. He got injured, lost the rest of the season. And the kid Lysel, the young kid.
Yes, Lysel.
He lit it up in the World Juniors. There's a chance that kid may make the team. If he makes that team, the kid is electric. He's a mixture of what they say is of a Pasternak and Patrick Kane. Like, and those are two very similar players. He's flashy, but he's gritty. He's got skill like you wouldn't believe. I hope he can do it at an NHL level, because, I mean, we've seen a lot of players over the years that were supposed to be the next coming of, Wayne Gretzky, and they were more like the next coming of fucking Al Peterson, who scored 1 goal his entire NHL career. But I don't know. So that's it. So I just want to give a little Bruins hot take.
Man. Don't worry.
Their camp starts in like 2 weeks. So we'll have more to talk about in the Bruins a couple weeks.
Yep. Would you be opposed if they got rid of the backup goalie or the secondary goalie?
Ullmark?
Yep. And Tuukka came back.
No, Tuukka's done. He's retired. He's done. People that are close to Tuukka have said that he's done. Like, he plays in pickup games and stuff, but he can't. His hip's too fucked up. He's done.
I was just thinking of saying that because he's had a legit off season to recuperate and seeing all the old. There's there's talk of a lot of the older Bruins from a 2008 Stanley Cup coming back together and seeing if they can rejuvenate things 12 years later.
Yeah, no, Tuukka's done. Tuukka's done. Goalie's a very different position, as you know, very demanding. But the other thing with Tuukka too is the mental aspect.
It's actually 14.
Hold on, let me just go through this real quick.
Yeah.
Him and his wife just renewed their wedding vows. you have to remember, him and his wife have been through a lot of marriage turmoil that we don't necessarily, the rumors are there, but people don't know about it. But the truth be told is Tuca was a party guy, many times been caught. Then his wife got caught when he took that leave of absence a couple of seasons ago for a couple of weeks. Well, that's because the wife was supposedly porking the trainer, her personal trainer, not the team trainer. But Tuca and his wife have had some marital issues, and I think him being away from the game has helped him rework his marriage. He's his kids. I don't know if there's something wrong with one of his daughters. I think, I don't know if his daughter has a medical condition or something, one of them. But you know what? Tuca's also in his late 30s. He's done his time. He was a great goalie, but it's time for him to go. And he ain't coming back. He's retired.
Okay.
So, and you know what?
I honestly want to say 2008 to now 2022, 18-2. That's almost 4. It would be, we're coming up on 14 years.
You got to remember, though, in 2008, 2009, 2008, 2009, 2010, Tim Thomas was a starting goalie.
Oh, yeah. I love me some Tim Thomas.
2011, Tuca was supposed to be the number one. Tim Thomas came back, lit a fight with a fire like you wouldn't believe, changed the mask to all white, and won the Stanley Cup for the Boston Bruins. And then Tuca got his up.
What year did we win the cup? 2011? I was thinking Celtics 2008.
No,
okay, so 2011
last year with the team. Okay. And then 2013, Tuca played phenomenal, but they didn't win it. And then what's up, Jimmy Fingers? And then, again, 2019, again, Tuca was phenomenal there, stood on his head, but you can take that down. We know it's sticky fingers. But at the end of the day, no, Tuca is better off where he is. We need youth. We have Ullmark. I like him. Do I like him at $5.5 million? You're not going to trade him now. Nobody's taking him at $5.5 million. But you know what? I'd rather have him as our backup or as our number 1A or B, I should say, than what's available now. So Bruins are in a good spot. Leave it where it is.
All right.
I'll take the word for it. Hey, speaking of spots, did you hear the spot? The fucking promo that fucking Mac Jones did, fucking blowing fucking Matt Patricia.
No.
All right, let's go into our Patriots talk. Mac Jones came out and talked about what an unbelievable, amazingly smart coach Matt Patricia is. And people are thinking that he's doing this or he's lying through his teeth. But that came out today.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that people think that.
I mean, he is a rocket scientist, legitimately a rocket scientist.
He's a legit rock. He's what's to say that he isn't a good football coach? Like, he went to Detroit. He had 2 shitty years.
It's his
everybody,
I think.
Everybody that's gone, I understand that. Bill Belichick has got a horrible attitude. I can't wait for the day.
Outside of football is a totally different guy.
Exactly.
When he's not in football season, Bill Belichick is like the coolest guy to listen to and talk to. Remember that thing they did, NFL's Greatest 100, and was hosted by Bill Belichick? That was the greatest thing to watch. And then when Brady came on, and him and Brady were like into the way they interacted, everyone says Bill the coach is different than Bill. Yeah.
Well, we really what nobody knows anything about Matt Patricia. Why would you?
They say he's a really smart guy, but they say it's his people skills.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I look at it this way, man.
I mean, not to pick on anyone who's autistic, and I don't mean this the wrong way, but maybe he has got like that level, like you meet somebody who's like smart as hell, but they have like zero personal skills, and sometimes you find out they're autistic in some ways. Maybe he's just not good with people.
Oh.
But I mean, he did wear. I mean, listen, I gotta love the guy because he wore the year Brady got fucked. He wore the Roger Goodell clown shirt to the friggin' Super Bowl, and we won.
Yeah.
So.
And the other thing is he's a successful coordinator under Bill Belichick. I'm just I understand, but I'm gonna say this. I'm just sick of like you're an NFL coach, and if you're chosen to be a coach in the NFL in any way, shape, and or form, you should be given the benefit of the doubt. If he was that horrible and Joe Judge was that horrible, I don't care if they're getting paid $3 million a season from other teams. It don't matter. I would not bring them back into my coaching staff just because I know they get big bucks elsewhere and I could give them little bucks here.
Yes, I don't think that's Bill Belichick's style, nor do I think
No,
that's
I like so. I mean,
they say Robert Kraft absolutely loves Matt Patricia,
and
loves him. So I don't know.
So I said, like I said, Burt Breer wrote a book, Bill Belichick. It speaks highly of Joe Judge in it, and at that time, Joe Judge was working with the receivers and is a former college quarterback.
Yeah.
So for people
working with a college, and it was a quarterback coach at one time too.
Yes. So for people to say, what does he know? Buddy, he was a quarterback.
More like, what the fuck do you know? Are you a fucking coach? I'm getting to the point, I'm going to be honest with you, Jay. I'm buying in. I am interested to see if this can work. I'm starting to buy in because I am a firm believer of, look, let's be honest. The wrestling business. Not everybody is meant to be a quote-unquote wrestler. Yep. Some people are meant to be behind the scene and are better behind the scenes. And some people are better at engineering it than putting it. Same as not everybody's meant to be a quote-unquote head coach. Being a head coach, it takes on a different persona, and you're taking on a whole new monster. Yep. Versus some people are better off at focusing in. We're going to learn this about Josh McDaniels this year.
Yes.
We're going to find out whether or not
is he a legit head coach or is he just a great coordinator?
Exactly. He failed once, came back, redid it. Let's see if he can do it again.
I see that. Yeah. Go on.
McVay was a guy who proved he could be a great head coach.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll had to go back to the college game to become a good head coach. Nick Saban was a great head coach, but not in the NFL. He's great at young kids, but not older guys. Maybe Matt Patricia and Joe Judge just are not meant to be quote unquote head coaches. Maybe this will work. Maybe it works. And I hope it does as a fan, but I'm excited. I want to see if this can work. I mean, I'm still skeptical about not having a true offensive coordinator, but let's see what happens.
I will say this only from the aspect, and I know high school varsity football in the state of Maine is not NFL or college-like. We have 4 coaches. There's myself and 3 others. There's a head coach,
offensive, defensive coordinator, a head coach.
We really don't even have that. The head coach comes up with the offense and the defense. We have a line coach that coaches offensive and defensive line. I'm the assistant to the head coach. He implicates his offense, his defense. What I do is I coach the scout teams. So I have a completely different offensive playbook. I call all the plays on offense while he calls all the plays on defense.
Yeah, and you're helping the defense. You're trying to help the defense, right?
Yes. Then we switch. Yeah. He takes the starting offense and he calls our offense, and I just call a vanilla defense. Yes. Yeah. And I know I'm not Joe Judge. I know I'm not Matt Patricia, but I know fucking football. I know football.
They say Matt Patricia knows football like you wouldn't fucking believe. Like he's one of the. That's what they say. They say he's one of the smartest.
If you're a football player and you don't know football, how the hell are you a football player?
You're right.
You watch offense go on while you're sitting there playing defense. If you're on the offense, you're watching what the defense does.
That's what makes Tom Brady
When you get to when you get to a certain level, you're given a playbook. You're taught how to watch film. These aspects are all done throughout the levels.
Yeah.
To say at the highest level that guys who have coached in this league cannot be coordinators on the different side of the ball, I'm going to say it. And I don't care who hangs me for it. That is one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard in my life. Could somebody know offense better than they know defense? Hell yeah. So if I coach defense, if I coach defense for 10 years,
if you coach defense your whole career and you played defense, then yeah, you're probably going to be a better defensive coordinator than you are an offensive coordinator.
But what's the one thing as a defensive player that I've done more than anything? Broke down offense. I've studied offense.
You studied offensive formations and plays. Absolutely.
Exactly. So now I just got to revert myself to the other side of the ball and remember what didn't my guys like to face.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I can work from that. So to say that realistically success can't be done at that level, I just don't want to hear it. I really don't.
Speaking of I want to stay on the Patriots, transition into a player. There's trade rumors, and I know you heard this. Isaiah Wynn is on the trade market. They are not happy with his game. What do you think? He would be the other first round draft pick of that year traded because Sony Michel was the other one.
Yep.
Because I guess they're saying Justin Herron, but Jared Herron, I think it's Justin Herron, has had a phenomenal training camp. And Wynn is not doing well. It is not adjusting to the change. And this is also the last year of his contract.
Okay. So I'm going to say this. Sports. Let's put it to you this way. Zones. When you play a zone defense, Tampa 2 is the thirds of the field. So once a guy crosses a third, it becomes another guy's responsibility. And then once it crosses the last third, it becomes other people's responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This zone run game, it is very hard for the offensive lineman because say I'm lining up in front of you. You would think theoretically my block is going against you. Not necessarily in the zone run.
You pull the guy.
Yeah,
Pull the tackle.
So the Patriots go from one of the most erotic, hardest offensive schemes for receivers to catch on to. Now we're going to one of the hardest offenses for linemen.
Yeah, here's the difference. And you know this, though. Bill Belichick, what's the one thing he looks for in all his players? Football what? And it's two letters.
Smart.
IQ.
Yeah, smart. He wants smart. So rumors came out today, too, that don't be surprised if Dante Scarnecchia makes an appearance at Patriots camp and is brought in for about a month or so to help with the offensive line. That's what they're talking about right now.
Let's go. So, but it's telling that Isaiah Wynn, who's not had a great.
I never thought he was all that good. Didn't he have a foot injury his first year?
One more piece of information. Tyquan Thornton, our number one receiver that we drafted, out for 8 weeks.
Collarbone, right?
Believe so.
Yep.
I think they put him back on injured reserve. They placed him on injured reserve to return. So, that opens the door up for,
Nixon. Trey Nixon.
Trey Nixon. I was just going to say that.
Number 83, where Wes Welker's old number.
Thornton, was wearing fucking 11, which is Edelman's number. So, but
that number's cursed.
Yeah. Nelson Aguilar, I guess, got injured today, but then he came back later. One person to look out for, potentially getting this. I wouldn't be shocked if he got traded. And I know Mac Jones wouldn't like this. Damian Harris.
Yes.
A lot of talk that Damian Harris will not get another contract from the Patriots when it's all said and done, because the Patriots have Ramondre Stevenson. And they're also liking, I guess Pierre Strong.
They like this new guy, the other Harris.
Yes.
The other Harris.
Harris, and he's looking like he could be the next James White.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. But
the Pats are very deep in the running back position this year.
They are.
That's why I said preseason is honestly nothing to judge.
Do you think we're going to see that shock release? Like remember the year Lawyer Malloy got released? Do you think we see that shock release this year by a player on the team? We were like, what? You released him?
No.
Okay. I'm just wondering. I just didn't know if you thought
because the shock to me would be releasing a guy like a Devin McCourty or a Matthew Slater, and that's not happening.
All right.
Other than that, it wouldn't like or saying, "Oh, Mac Jones is done. We're going to start Zappy and Brian Hoyer."
And by the way, last week I was right. It was Friday, not Thursday, motherfucker.
You were. All right. I was
under the. What day are they playing this week? Is it Thursday?
Friday.
Friday.
Yep. Friday at the Raiders.
All right. So let's go into our last bit of talk. Let's talk WWE. First things first, I want to talk real quick. I watched the Charlotte Flair Stone Cold podcast. I
haven't seen it yet.
It was good. I'll tell you, one thing you learned from it is for a woman, the way her character's portrayed, for years, you would think a woman like her would have more confidence. Definitely could see that there was a lot of lack of confidence in her over the years. Much like Becky Lynch, much a perfectionist, never truly satisfied with some of the matches. Stone Cold did ask some good questions. They talked about it. But I got to say, I mean, look, you get bored of watching her out in the ring sometimes at some of the gimmicks. But I will say, look, she definitively is one of the few women that has helped revolutionize women's wrestling today. And I kind of look forward to her coming back because she alluded to, she said the right thing. She's like, as performers and as wrestlers and as gimmicks, we need to continually evolve or we get stale. She's like, I don't know what's next for. She goes, do I go darker? She did say that she goes, I'm better as a heel than I am as a face. Something tells me she's going to eventually be that woman that you cheer because she's the next Randy Orton. She's a heel, but people are going to cheer for her just because, like her father, you can only boo him for so long and then you love what she's doing.
Yeah.
It was good. You got to check it out. And then, Johnny Wrestling and the world.
I have not watched SmackDown yet since the Triple H era happened. Did anything interesting happen on SmackDown this week?
SmackDown's been fucking great. Both shows have been great.
Monday Night Raw was real good.
The Monday Night Raw 3 weeks in a row has been phenomenal. SmackDown was great. I'll tell you, finally they're doing the right thing with fucking Todd and his tag team partner.
Yeah, they got face paint and stuff like that.
They made him, they got rid of the vicious Viking Raiders. They finally said the Viking Raiders, man, are they vicious, but they're doing the right things. SmackDown, Karrion Kross. I mean, it's great. Karrion Kross also on his Instagram or Twitter pretty much alluded to, and all the smoke is there. And what do I always say, Jay? Where there is a ton of smoke, there is a fucking fire. Bray Wyatt is returning to the WWE. Almost pretty much confirmed by Karrion Kross, and everybody under the sun is saying it's just a matter of signing on the dotted line at this point. Even Bray Wyatt has said to people close to him, he is going back. And they've also talked about potentially not having Roman Reigns go all the way to WrestleMania. Now, it still may happen, but Clash of the Castle, we already know Roman Reigns is going to beat Drew McIntyre.
Really?
Yeah, he's beating Drew McIntyre.
I would think of Drew's home and
No, you don't put him
the
over.
way they're pushing.
Wait.
I know, old school.
Ready?
You just don't do it.
I'm going to show you. Ready? You reach down and you get the foreign object, and the referee sees it. Boom! And then ding, 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 ding. Yeah, Drew goes over, but you don't win the title, my friend. And I think that's what happened.
I know, Wrestling 101, disappoint the hometown fans.
But Drew still goes over in his hometown. It's happened in the past. Dusty went over in the hometown, but didn't win the title.
Yeah,
It's happened in the past. You know what I mean? Remember, Lex Luger went over, but didn't win the title.
That's right.
Lex Express. But anyways, SmackDown's been good. We've seen the return of Dexter Lumis. We've seen the return of...
He made a return to NXT also.
Yep. Index. Yes, they kissed. Yes.
Yes.
But you're going to see Dexter Lumis in a feud, looks like, with The Miz, which will look good, which I think will lead to Lumis versus Ciampa.
Yep.
We're seeing Johnny Wrestling return. And guess who he's going to start a feud with?
Austin Theory. Because that was what they were doing down in NXT.
And he even said, he goes, Johnny Wrestling. He goes, and then he made allude to baby wrestling, and it started a whole chant.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was good. It was
great. But again, the Triple H era, honestly, I kind of like it in a slight way. He's doing exactly what Vince did to him. Not only is Johnny Wrestling back, and that was a surprise, and we're going to see other guys coming back. Shawn Michaels named Vice President of Talent and Creativity, second only to Triple H. Are you telling me now that Triple H, and not just that, Road Dogg Jesse James going back? Also, the guy, what's his name? Something Zeke, the big guy that everybody talked about that was a producer, that was like Triple H's main guy that they shit canned. Also, going back to the W. So you're gonna see NXT brought back to a point where, in a way, that it was what it was.
I thought NXT was awesome the other night.
It was, but it was run by Shawn Michaels. Bruce Pritchard is sticking around, but in a creative type of sense, to help with creative, to help, kind of finalize television product. But Shawn Michaels, HBK, and Triple fucking H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, are fucking running the WWE now. Creativity, it is off the charts. The thing is, the guys that are in the business today, everything you see, they love these two guys. They want to work for these two guys. WWE is going to be a place now where people want to actually fucking work again. It is. I've got to say that as a fan, I'm excited. As a guy in the business that understands the wrestling business, that knows the business like you, that knows how to write, I've seen better writing in the last few weeks than I've seen in the last 5 fucking years.
Yeah.
I see better angles coming out. What he's doing with Judgment Day, you see the push coming to Finn Balor.
Yes.
You see Edge is blowing up Damian Priest. Like he is enthralled with Damian Priest in the evolution of the character, even though Damian Priest lost. What a fucking match.
Yes.
If you haven't chanced to watch it yet.
Yes.
What a match. Phenomenal.
Yep.
Phenomenal. Also, to allude, Edge did say it's probably in 1 year's time, he's probably retiring.
Really?
In-ring action. Yeah, full-time in-ring action. He's retiring. He says probably at this time next year when they come back to Toronto, it might be his swan song. But at least he's going out on his own thing. I watched his biography. Phenomenal. But we already knew the story. You know what I mean? But then let's talk briefly before we go off. A lot of shit about CM Punk and Adam Page. Did you get a chance to see the fucking promo? Did you hear
No,
what
but I'm
CM Punk
watching
did?
CM Punk and John Moxley right
Okay,
now, and
so
Moxley just beat him with the
yeah,
double arm suplex. When he pinned him, he flipped the crowd the bird.
who did?
Moxley.
Flip the crowd the bird. All right, so
Yep.
let me let you in on a little something. So I think it was last week. Fucking Punk, Punk did this promo, and in
Yes.
the middle of the promo, fucking sits down and calls out Adam Page, and then Page, and it wasn't. Everyone says it wasn't scripted. Like he went off script, and Page never showed up. Kind of punked out fucking Adam Page. There's a lot of heat going on right now. A lot of heat.
Punk just hurt himself again. I think he broke his foot.
Again?
Because there's 3 doctors in the ring right now, and he's not holding his knee, he's holding his foot.
I think it's a gimmick.
He wears those shitty wrestling shoes, man.
No, he used to wear wrestling boots. Now he wears the shoes.
Yep, he's wearing Optimix wrestling shoes.
Yeah.
And I had heard that he wasn't fully 100% yet.
I don't know. Knowing him, he wouldn't be back in the ring because he makes too much money. But yeah, there was a lot of shit going around there. And right now, AEW looks like it's in fucking turmoil. A lot of backstage shit. I guess Tony Khan's having backstage meetings with people talking about what they're saying on television. Not happy that Johnny Gargano already came back. I think he sees the writing on the wall that whenever he made that comment of the longest tenured promoter in professional wrestling at this point. And then since then, Triple H has kind of fucking pulled down his pants, shit in his Cheerios, and then fed it to him. I don't know. It seems like to me that right now AEW is they need the right people involved to make it right, because I think you're going to start seeing, hate to say it, I think you're going to start seeing people pulling Exodus. They're not going to start re-signing. Don't be shocked if MJF, when he finally comes out of his fucking self-imposed exile or whatever, demands and gets out of his contract.
But what is he in the WWE?
He goes to WWE. He goes.
Can he utilize that smoke? Can he utilize the stick that he
absolutely uses? Wait. WWE is now TV 14. No, he won't be able to say fuck on television, but he can be pretty close to doing what he does within reason and be MJF. I would say if I was writing, I would have him come out as that heel face, and immediately his first feud is with The Miz.
Yes.
Absolutely first feud with The Miz.
Because they've already had open social media heat.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I got to tell you, I am now watching, and I think this is it.
All right. Just because I got to see the replay. So Punk gives the roundhouse kick to Moxley's head.
Yeah. And
whatever foot, it must have been, that was the surgically repaired foot.
Yeah.
He kicks him, sells it. Moxley sells it. They both get up. Moxley hits him with the double wing fisherman's in the cradle, and he's like this to everybody. Moxley basically said, fuck you to the fans.
I wonder why. Or was he saying fuck you to AEW?
Could be at both, because the AEW fans, he's probably like, look, this is your big old superhero that you guys loved, so much, and I'm the guy that you guys loved a lot 3 years ago, and now you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be shocked if John Moxley returns to WWE eventually, my friend. Don't be shocked.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I wouldn't be surprised if Renee Paquette returns.
Yep.
Now that Vince is gone.
Yep. I think the thing is right now, the WWE has what they had 20 years ago. That what happens next factor. Who's coming next? What superstar is showing up on TV? When is Bray Wyatt showing up? So everybody's watching.
Now,
You know,
what did Karrion Kross's tweet exactly say?
I have to find it, but it kind of alluded to Bray Wyatt returning to the WWE. I'd have to find it. I have to dig it up. But Karrion Kross put out something that pretty much solidified Bray Wyatt's return.
How does he return?
Returns as Bray Wyatt. Returns as the lantern holding Bray Wyatt. I would assume. I think what you do though, if I was writing, I will go back to it again, and I've said this to you, and I think you love the idea.
Yeah, I love the idea.
The 3 faces of Bray Wyatt, right? You do the whole thing the way all of a sudden you do, like I would have Roman Reigns wins on television, and he's like, wise man, no one, there's nobody wise man, nobody. And all of a sudden we're really happy that you're friends. And then you're like, and it's up on the Titantron, and you just see Bray Wyatt kind of do one of these, come up like this with the lantern. And he goes, and you know what he said? What he just says, like, what did he used to say?
He's
Follow the
here.
abundance. Or what did he say?
He's here.
No. Oh no, go. I'm coming. And he blows it out. And you're like, what the fuck? So then the next week you do the we're really happy, and then you see Bray Wyatt comes out as the googly, oh, you saw me last week as Bray, blah blah blah. And he's like, we're coming. And then next thing you know, the third week is Roman's out there, and he's like, all right, enough of this shit, and the lights go red. You boom, 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 and up on the Titantron, you just see the Fiend.
Yeah.
And then it's like done. And then you're like, what the fuck? And you do the 3 faces of Wyatt. And then finally, when he comes out, the first time he comes out, he should come out as the lantern holding fucking Bray Wyatt. And then you play the music, and he uses the different musics. And then the fucking crowd goes nuts. Then eventually down the line, you bring back an Eric Rowan. You bring back a Braun Strowman. You could do a Wyatt family again, or leave him out and let him do the 3 faces of Wyatt. It's like, and you can make it the most compelling character since the Undertaker's. It's like, wait a fuck, holy fuck, this dude is Mick Foley, but can actually wrestle. Like Foley was good, but this dude is like, you don't know if you're getting the psychopath, you don't know if you're getting the Fiend, or you don't know if you're getting the Eater of Worlds, and you adapt it. And it's like, the idea is, as a gimmick, is the wrestler who his opponent doesn't know who to plan for. Because like Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, should wrestle a little different than Bray Wyatt, the Funhouse psychopath, who wrestles different than the Fiend. The Fiend should be like one of those, oh shit. Like, in the Fiend should be a very, 4 times a year you see the Fiend. That's how it should be. But the faces of Wyatt, and you're like, it would be fucking amazing if they do it that way. The 3 faces of Bray Wyatt. Oh, it would be. I honestly, I'm going to Survivor Series. I bought tickets. I'm actually going. First live event I'm going to, live event I'm going to since I went with the night that you were backstage.
Okay.
Remember the night you were backstage at Raw and you were going on the show?
Yeah.
You were hoping to get on the show that night? That's the last time I went to a live event.
Wow.
So,
it didn't sell out yet in Boston.
No, you don't want to know why?
Why?
Because you know how we sit in the nosebleeds here in the cheap seats? You know how much the fucking cheap seats are for a WWE fucking pay-per-view?
What?
Okay, I'm up in the cheapies, and I mean up in the cheapies, bro. $163 per fucking seat.
You're kidding me.
No. The closer you go, the more expensive it gets. If you're across from the hard cam,
yeah,
in Loge, anywhere between $700 to $1,000. On the floor, $2,000.
Who's affording that?
I have no fucking clue, buddy, but that's what they're selling them for. It was fucking absurd. But it should be a great pay-per-view because it will be Survivor Series. It will be run by Hunter.
Will we see a classic Survivor Series match return?
Yes, absolutely. I think we'll see it at least with 1 or 2 matches. Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
And I don't want to see the Raw versus SmackDown one. I want to see
I think
you know what I mean?
I think you'll see a SmackDown versus SmackDown or in a Raw versus Raw, or you're going to see Raw versus SmackDown.
Yeah.
Women, you'll see a women's one and you'll see a men's one.
Men's one.
So, and I'll tell you, the fucking matches between Riddle and Rollins have been fucking like the heat between them.
Yes.
Their work is phenomenal. It's really good.
Where does Cody Rhodes fit in this equation? He's lost now.
So if Roman Reigns does retain and keep it, he will keep it to WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is they've already said it. Triple H has got huge plans for Cody Rhodes. Ultimately, he comes back, probably wins the Rumble, doesn't wrestle again till WrestleMania, likely if he's not 100%. And where WrestleMania is a 2-night event, if The Rock is on WrestleMania, he will wrestle Saturday night. And what will happen is, in my opinion, Roman Reigns, and I think I already said this to you before, Roman Reigns will be the first guy, he's going to go down in history as the first guy to ever main event 2 nights of WrestleMania back to back. Because the first night, he'll defeat The Rock, and then Sunday night will defend the title against Cody and lose. So this way, when Roman loses, it'll be, well, I wrestled two nights, to try to make him not look as weak as lose. You know what I mean? But that'll be the gimmick.
I heard it's almost it's basically next to impossible that the Rock thing is just a pipe dream for everybody.
I'm hearing it's pretty hard for him to get it. I mean, they're still alluding to it. There's little hints here and there. The only way, I mean, look,
he has to want to make time for this.
The Rumble,
number one.
The Rumble, unfortunately, like I would say by Survivor Series, we know. Now, I think what happens is I hate to say it, but the only other way that it would be able to work is if either A, he goes over at the Rumble, or B, he comes out on Raw and says, I'm challenging my cousin, blah, 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 the whole Uso thing. And then it's like, and then you fill in the thing where Cody's like, well, what about me? I won the Rumble. And that's where it comes up with the idea is, on Saturday night, Roman Reigns versus The Rock, the winner to take on Cody Rhodes. And the Roman Reigns goes over.
I think it's very easy for The Rock to come out because The Rock can just go, I've been listening now for however many days about this person being the tribal chief. And, tribal. And he'd be, I can see him cutting jokes like tribal chief.
No. The way I think it would be like, he'd be like, yo, Oos, yeah, you come out and say you're the tribal chief, but you got to be a person to the people, the people. And Roman does the whole, man, go back to Hollywood. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm the tribal chief. I run this. I'm the this. You're not, and then you build the heat that way.
Yes, there's a lot. It's very easy for that to open up. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know because it's a good question. Does The Rock, if The Rock is going in the Hall of Fame, then yes, The Rock wrestles at WrestleMania. If The Rock's not going to the Hall of Fame this year, then maybe not. I mean, it makes sense because it is Hollywood, but I'm telling you right now, man, there's probably I wouldn't be shocked if we finally don't see Owen Hart in the Hall of Fame this year. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see Owen Hart in the Hall of Fame. I don't think it happens because I think the company still.
It's the wife.
It's the wife that doesn't want it to happen.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't think the WWE is interested anymore, for the simple fact that they're very hurt that she mended fences with the WWE, but then shows
the AEW thing.
Yes, and I think then
But
I think the
Hunter,
company itself is
yeah,
very hurt by that.
I don't think Hunter looks at it like that. Look, because at the end of the day, I think what we've learned about Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Stephanie McMahon, they will do what is best for the business and what's best for the fans. They don't, and they're not going to let shit like that bother them. I think that's a good lesson they learned from Vince. Vince let people, people legitimately shit on Vince McMahon for years, and then Vince took him back with open arms because he forgave him. And I think in the wrestling business, it's entertainment and it's about the fans, and they know the fans want it. Yeah. And I think there's enough people backstage that have said, listen, they know the kid belongs there. And I think they've wanted him in the Hall of Fame. I really think if it wasn't for Martha Hart, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. Everybody
I will
said
say
it.
this. I have heard, and it's just a rumor, but I have heard and read that WWE are actually looking to do a legitimate Hall of Fame, like a legitimate building where there'll be a Hall of Fame. Not just not just Stamford, Connecticut, where you walk.
No, I heard it's going to be a building that is built onto the Performance Center.
Yes, I heard that too. Like the legitimate Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard that they
could go down as a fan and walk through and then see the Performance Center. And
the original plan for the WWE was when Impact Wrestling had left.
Yeah.
The Orlando taping areas. That's originally where the WWE was slated to go into for NXT, and they were going to buy property that was right there, already built, and it was going to be the WWE South corporate headquarters to a certain extent, but it was going to house their Hall of Fame.
Yeah. The other place I heard for the Hall of Fame was New York.
I think it's dumb. I think that,
listen, my opinion, honestly, if
nobody goes to New York no more.
Here's the thing. New York was always part of Madison Square Garden was always kind of like their mecca back in the day.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? And then the Boston, it's like, it was New York, Boston, Philly. Those were their three big arenas that they did. Honestly, at the end of the day, I think they should put the Hall of Fame. I think it should stay in Connecticut. I think it should be a building. They should build a building next to the WWE headquarters.
I don't.
But I can see it going to Florida too.
I would, if it was me, I would sell the whole experience. You have the Hall of Fame connected to the Performance Center.
That's what I'm saying. That would be great. Because you can say at any given time, you may walk in, you may see Triple H in there, you may see a wrestlers in there. You're like, oh my God!
But the thing is, it becomes an attraction for wrestling fans even more now. Because
what if they hired somebody like what if they gave somebody a job, like come in and let's just say you bought a ticket for the experience, and what if your tour guide you didn't know it, and they say, hey, you get a surprise WWE legend. You show up and it's Kurt Angle who's walking you through the fucking Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Or it's Diamond Dallas Page, or it's fucking one of the retired guys or women that walk you through and say, hey. And and at the end of the day, you get the whole experience out of it. You get to sit down with them, ask questions. What an unbelievable thing that would be. It would be fucking amazing. And you get to, and what if it, you do the window, you say, you don't get to go in, but you say, hey, here's our Performance Center. This is where the future WWE stars are. And you look in, you're like, holy shit. Like, yeah, there's the Performance Center. It would
I'd sell it all as one big ticket price.
But yeah. But it would be a great experience, but they do need to have a physical Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
I think what they should be doing anyways, they should have each WWE house show and Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. I think that there should be a traveling Hall of Fame. I believe there should be things.
Dude, you can't, because
you can dedicate one truck to some nostalgic stuff that you can set up.
But that's
outside
the
venue. You know what I mean?
WWE experience. They do that at live shows now.
Oh, then they're giving you a portion of what would be the Hall of Fame.
I think I'd want to see a legitimate Hall of Fame. Like
I would. Oh yes, like seeing Killer Kowalski's robe collection. Yeah, yes, I agree.
seeing Flair's title, seeing the greatest title of all time, the one hanging on the Stone Cold podcast, seeing the Eagle title, seeing fucking, seeing the Road Warrior shoulder pads, you know what I mean? Shit like that. Just everything. Just, it would be great to see a physical Hall of Fame. It really would.
Agreed, man. Agreed.
You could say, you could do, hey, these are wrestlers from other territories who are part of the Hall of Fame that, maybe necessarily weren't part of WWE, but we own the collection. It would be like Vern Gagne or fucking, or, hey,
he could have AWA, he could have NWA, he could have all that stuff. World-class championship wrestling.
Von Erichs, like I said, Von Erichs.
He owns all that history. He'd be a fool not to have different sections of the Hall of Fame dedicated.
And then you can do like all a gimmick, like you do at the fucking, you do it like the Patriots Hall of Fame, where like you could sit down and you do the gimmick.
Call a match.
You call a match and like, oh my god, and blah blah blah, and it would be
get
great.
Your guest entrance, like they have an entrance there. You hit a music and you get your ring entrance.
And speaking of Hall of Fame, I'm going to end it on this. Potential Hall of Famer this year, if The Rock is not going in, John Cena. Mark it down. Mark it down. He is Hollywood. He would be the perfect lead for this year's WrestleMania. John Cena.
Would John Cena be viable to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
They already did it. It's already done.
Yeah.
They already had their match. They did it, and Roman won. So
I get it.
Done. All right, brother.
All right. Been another great episode of Talking from the Cheap Seats. Not much, going on in the Boston sports scene. We were able to cover up, but yep, we'll be hopping and skipping. We'll have 4 sports. You'll almost have all 4 sports going at one time, which is amazing. So, yeah, buddy.
Great 4 horsemen.
That's right. They'll have it all going at the same time. So,
but yeah, pretty soon. And then hopefully and then we can put a stick of fork and fucking shoot the dead. Excuse me, I saw you kid there. Shoot the dead duck called the Boston Red Sox, and then we'll just have to worry about 3 sports.
Yeah, with my luck, all of a sudden they'll make the last wild card spot.
No, let's not. All right, brother.
All right, brother. Well, to everybody out there in YouTube, in Facebook, and Twitch land, we want to thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Talking from the Cheap Seats. My son has one question. What is it? Hello?
What's your question?
What's your question?
When Marcus Smart gets traded, I think we got to get Donovan Mitchell.
My son says he wants to trade Marcus Smart for Donovan Mitchell.
That's a topic we'll talk about next week.
We can talk about that next week.
All right.
I'm Rumble.
I'm the Gazoo.
And once again, we talked sports better
than you.
We'll see y'all next week.